Indiana Hammond City Council will come to order. To the Pledge of Allegiance, we'd like to take a moment of silence for Steve Zimbrowski, Times editor, who passed away suddenly. Please, a moment of silence. Thank you. Now the Pledge of Allegiance.
Special prayers go out to Alphonse Heron, a friend of mine who I went to school with, who lost his son, along with his brother, who were funeralized today, and Mayor Anthony Copeland, who lost his brother as well. Heavenly Father, we come before you asking, Lord, that you give us guidance and direction, Lord, to do the things that are necessary, set forth in your wisdom, God. We ask that you give us strength and understanding so that we can complete the job and the task that's set before us. We ask for all these blessings in your Son, Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Amen.
Clerk Golick, roll call.
Markovich. Here. Spitali.
Here.
Vanez.
Here.
Kalwinski.
Here.
Salinas. Higgs.
Here.
Emerson.
Here.
Enosa.
Here.
Opinker.
Here. Let the record show 8 present, 1 absent. Number 3, reading of minutes.
Mr. President,
Councilman Spitali.
make a motion to accept the minutes from March 11, 2013, so moved.
Second.
There's a motion by Councilman Spitali, second by Councilman Kowinski to accept the minutes. Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Minutes passed. Number 4, approval of claims.
Mr. Chairman,
Councilman Markovich.
move for approval of claims for March 6th through March 20th for council meeting March 25th. Beginning with claims dated 3/8/13 and ending with claims dated 3/20/13, claim number 1342 through claim number 1609 for a total of $2,808,245.06. I so move.
Second.
It's a motion by Councilman Markovich, second by Councilman Higgs to accept the claims. Is there any discussion?
Mr. Chairman,
Councilman Markovich.
I'd like to make an amendment. Claim number 1610, Fraternal Order of Eagles, Auxiliary Women, $200. Donation for their 30th ladies' anniversary. I so move.
Second.
It's a motion by Councilman Markovich, second by Councilman Hinojosa to accept the amendment. Is there any discussion? Clerk Golick, roll call vote on the amendment.
Markovich.
Yes.
Spitali.
Yes.
Vanez.
Yes.
Kalwinski.
Yes.
Salinas. Higgs.
Yes.
Emerson.
Yes.
Enosa.
Yes.
Opinker.
Yes. Amended claim passes 8-0, 1 absent. Now on the claims as written. Clerk Golick, roll call vote.
Markovich.
Yes.
Spitali.
Yes.
Vanez.
Yes.
Kalwinski.
Yes.
Salinas. Higgs.
Yes.
Emerson.
Yes.
Enosa.
Yes.
Opinker.
Yes. Claims passes 8-0, 1 absent. Moving on to public hearing. There is none. Number 6, communications.
Mr. President,
Councilman Higgs.
I received a correspondence from the Board of Commissioners of Lake County, Indiana, March 20th, 2013. The Indiana Local Option Income Tax. The Indiana State Legislators enacted a law giving 92 counties the opportunity to pass the county optional income tax. In 91 counties, the county council and commissioners voluntarily chose to enact such a tax. Only in Lake County did the county commissioners veto the tax. I voted to defeat the tax in December of 2007. Webster Dictionary defines an option as the liberty of choosing. I chose not to increase my constituent taxes. In response, our state legislators wrote a new definition for opinion. If you elected not to pass their tax, all your units' tax levies are frozen. Why is the question. The General Assembly did not want to shoulder the blame, so they forced the tax increase decision on to the counties. The tax has two wrongs. First, the tax is unconstitutional. Not all persons pay tax, since the law exempts all businesses and large corporations such as BP, Midland, and UXX. Indiana Constitutional in Article 10, Section 1 mandates a uniform of equal tax rates. The option tax violates this principle. Second, the option tax is tainted as voluntary but is mandatory. The General Assembly forces Lake County to enact a tax. Now can this be an opinion question? I would never vote for such a tax. The Indiana General Assembly that legally froze our levy must rescind this law and finally admit they are wrong in their actions against Lake County homeowners. I ask our elected officials to stand up for all Lake County homeowners to reverse this unconstitutional law. We are given the liberty to choose whether the tax should be passed. I chose to veto the tax for every county homeowner. I did this in 2007, and I will veto the tax again. Sincerely, Jerry Shube, 2nd District, Lake County Commissioners.
Is there any other communications?
Mr. President,
Councilman Higgs.
Mount Zion Pleasant View Plaza sent me a letter in regards to the council. You are currently invited to participate in celebrating and honoring our beloved resident, Ms. Lola Owens. Ms. Owens celebrates 103 years birthday on April 1st, 2013 at 1 p.m. at the Mount Zion Pleasant View Plaza Community Center. We would be honored if you would take a moment of your time to help us honor Ms. Owens on this joyous occasion. Please contact Mount Zion Pleasant View Plaza office at 219-931-3904 by March 25th, 2013, if you will be able to participate. Thank you for your time, and we look forward to seeing you on a special day for Ms. Owens. Sincerely, Martina Short, Site Manager, Mount Zion Pleasant View Plaza.
Any other communications?
Mr. President,
Councilman Higgs.
North Lake Parrots Football Spirit and Scholastics. On behalf of the North Lake Parrots Pop Warner Association, we are honored and wish to thank you for your donation to our football cheerleaders dance scholastic program. We cannot express enough how grateful we are for your contribution. Your support will provide many opportunities for those young men and women. Our program teaches valuable life skills to our community youth, such as self-discipline, teamwork, friendship, and good sportsmanship. We are also encouraged to advance our activities in the Little Scholars Program, which physically is an academic and athletics go-ahead, hand-to-hand. As you can imagine, there is a lot of time and cost involved in operating a program of this magnitude. Your sponsorship will provide for the purchase of uniforms, insurance, equipment, referees, travel expenses. Also, your contribution will enable our youth to participate in highly designated tournaments. These events are burden their discipline and character on the field and visible in our future endeavors. Once again, we deeply appreciate your donation. We are blessed to have a role model in the community such as you. Thank you for helping us provide high-quality programs for the youth in the area. Sincerely, North Lake Parrots, Pop Warner, Scholastics.
Any other communications?
Mr. President,
Councilman Higgs.
the East Chicago Public Library cordially invites you to attend a ribbon-cutting ceremony for the rededication of William B. Passmore Center Service Center, Thursday, April 4, 2013, at 5:30 p.m. to 7 p.m. Main Library, 2401 East Columbus Drive, East Chicago, Indiana.
Any other communications? Communications is now closed. Moving on to committee reports.
Mr. President,
Councilwoman Venez.
Finance will be bringing out 1307.
Any other committee reports?
Mr. President,
Councilman Emerson.
we're bringing out 1309 through 1318.
Any other committee reports? Committee reports is now closed. Clerk Golick.
Ordinance 13-07, sponsored by Councilwoman Venez. An ordinance to amend ordinance number 9182, also known as the salary ordinance for the Hammond City Court, as it relates to probation officers.
Mr. President,
Councilwoman Venez.
this ordinance is...
We need a first and second, or
Yes, I move for final passage of 1307.
Second.
there's a motion for final passage by Councilwoman Venez, second by Councilman Spitali. Is there any discussion?
Mr. President,
Councilwoman Venez.
this ordinance is to correct some errors that were discovered in the 2013 salary ordinance. There are some positions that were vacated, there is movement, there are all sorts of things going on here. So Judge Harkin explained everything in caucus, and that's that.
Any other discussion?
Mr. President,
Councilman Higgs.
how many individuals in the judge office are going to get raises?
Mr. President,
Councilwoman Venez.
I believe Judge Harkin said there was one. Is Judge Harkin here still? Okay. I believe he said there was one.
Any other discussion?
Mr. President,
Councilman Higgs.
what is the total increase in the salary?
$4,000.
That's correct. Any other discussion? Clerk Golick, roll call vote.
Markovich. Yes. Spitali.
Yes.
Venez.
Yes.
Yawinski. Salinas. Higgs.
Yes.
Emerson.
Yes.
Enosa.
Yes.
Opinker.
Yes. 8 yes, 1 absent. Motion passes.
The clerk will read the titles for ordinances 1309 through 1318, and the chair will entertain a motion to adopt on final passage. Ordinance 1309, sponsored by Councilman Emerson and Spitali, and ordinance amending ordinance numbers 4304, 8383, 8552, 8602, and ordinance 8814, also known as section 150.025 of the Hammond Municipal Code pertaining to building permit fees in the city of Hammond. Ordinance 1310, sponsored by Councilman Emerson and Spitali, and ordinance amending ordinance number 3351, also known as section 151.35 of the Hammond Municipal Code pertaining to electrical license transfer and renewal in the city of Hammond. Ordinance number 1311, sponsored by Councilman Emerson and Spitali, and ordinance amending ordinance number 3351, also known as section 151.36 of the Hammond Municipal Code pertaining to the revocation of an electrical license in the city of Hammond. Ordinance 1312, sponsored by Councilman Emerson and Spitali, and ordinance amending ordinance numbers 3351 and ordinance 4328, also known as section 151.37 of the Hammond Municipal Code pertaining to electrical license fee schedule in the city of Hammond. Ordinance 13-13, sponsored by Councilman Emerson and Spitali, and ordinance amending ordinance number 8888, also known as section 151.51 of the Hammond Municipal Code pertaining to electrical permit fees in the city of Hammond. Ordinance 13-14, sponsored by Councilman Emerson and Spitali, and ordinance amending ordinance number 4880, also known as Section 154.19 and Section 154.28 of the Hammond Municipal Code pertaining to heating, ventilation, and air conditioning examination criteria and fee schedules in the city of Hammond. Ordinance 13-15, sponsored by Councilman Emerson and Spitali. And ordinance amending ordinance number 4880, also known as Section 154.23 of the Hammond Municipal Code pertaining to heating, ventilation, and air conditioning reciprocal licenses. Ordinance 1316, sponsored by Councilman Emerson and Spitali. And ordinance amending ordinance numbers 3456, 3851, 4588, 7658, and ordinance number 8893, also known as Section 150.024 of the Hammond Municipal Code pertaining to contractor fee schedule in the city of Hammond. Ordinance number 1317, sponsored by Councilman Emerson and Spitali. And ordinance amending ordinance number 4880, also known as Section 154.25 and 154.26 of the Hammond Municipal Code pertaining to the revocation of a heating, ventilation, and air conditioning license in the city of Hammond. Ordinance 1318, sponsored by Councilman Emerson and Spitali. And ordinance amending ordinance numbers 4880, 8383, 8779, and 8887, also known as Section 154.42 and 154.43 of the Hammond Municipal Code pertaining to heating, ventilation, and air conditioning permit fees in the city of Hammond.
Mr. President,
Councilman Emerson.
I move for final passage of ordinance 1309 through 1318. I so move.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Emerson, second by Councilman Spitali. Is there any discussion?
Mr. President,
Councilman Higgs.
there's one particular ordinance that reflects an increase of paying fees. Can that be explained to me, maybe the gentleman from...
Commissioner Cook. Which ordinance did you have a question on, Councilman Higgs?
One that increases the amount of the fees that are assessed.
There's actually two parts to that ordinance, Councilman. One was increasing the minimum fees for a permit from $30 to $50. That more accurately reflects the cost of what it takes to have an inspector go out. But we also, with those ordinances, increased the threshold for obtaining a permit from $300 to $500. So what we were trying to do is when a homeowner wants to get a permit for doing repairs, maintenance, alterations on his home, we didn't want them to go through any excessive red tape, have to come down and get a permit. So we raised that threshold. So I believe even though we increased the fee from $30 to $50, the net will be a decrease in what the average homeowner has to pay for permits.
Mr. President,
Councilman Higgs.
I guess my question would be as it relates to other cities in the surrounding areas, are the fees equal in terms of assessments?
Our permit fees are lower than most municipalities. Highland, Munster, Crown Point, Lake County, Gary, all charge more for an average permit than Hammond does. Again, I did not propose that we raise the cost of obtaining a permit, just the minimum charge. I think the only municipality that is slightly less than us is East Chicago, and those are only on the smaller permits. When they get into the larger permits, they end up being more. So the answer to your question is probably 80% of the cities are higher than us on permit fees, and maybe about 20% are lower. And that would remain the same with the passage of these ordinances.
Any other discussion?
Mr. President,
Councilman Emerson?
I would just like to thank Mr. Cook for coming tonight, and also just to elaborate a little bit. You know, when some of these were passed, back in the 70s, a lot of us had VCRs, and gas was 80 cents a gallon, and since there's 80,000 plus citizens in Hammond and a lot of rebuilding and rehabbing going on, I think we owe it to the city to come in tune with the 2013s. That was my comment.
Any other discussion?
Mr. President,
Councilman Higgs?
just for some clarity to Councilman Emerson, it's not 80,000 residents in the city of Hammond, and it's more like 70,000, and a lot of people are losing their homes, too.
Any other discussion? Any other discussion? Clerk Golick, roll call vote on 1309.
1309. Second for final passage.
Final passage on ordinance 1309, I so move.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Emerson, second by Councilman Spitali. We've had our discussion. Clerk Golick, roll call vote.
Markovich.
Yes.
Spitali.
Yes.
Vines.
Yes.
Kalwinski.
Yes.
Salinas. Higgs. Emerson.
Yes.
Enosa.
Yes.
Opinker.
Yes. Ordinance 1309 passes 8-0, one absent.
Ordinance 1310.
I would like to move for final passage on ordinance 1310.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Emerson, second by Councilman Spitali. We've had our discussion. Clerk Golick, roll call vote.
Markovich.
Yes.
Spitali.
Yes.
Vines.
Yes.
Kalwinski.
Yes.
Salinas. Higgs.
Yes.
Emerson.
Yes.
Enosa.
Yes.
Opinker.
Yes. Ordinance 1310 passes 8-0, one absent.
Ordinance 1311.
I move for final passage of ordinance 1311.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Emerson, second by Councilman Spitali. We've had our discussion. Clerk Golick, roll call vote.
Markovich.
Yes.
Spitali.
Yes.
Vines.
Yes.
Kalwinski. Salinas. Higgs.
Yes.
Emerson.
Yes.
Enosa.
Yes.
Opinker.
Yes. Ordinance 1311 passes 8-0, one absent.
Ordinance 1312.
I move for final passage of ordinance 1312.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Emerson, second by Councilman Spitali for third and final passage. We've had our discussion. Clerk Golick, roll call vote.
Markovich.
Yes.
Spitali.
Yes.
Vines.
Yes.
Kalwinski.
Yes.
Salinas. Higgs. Emerson.
Yes.
Enosa.
Yes.
Opinker.
Yes. Ordinance 1312 passes 8-0, one absent.
Ordinance 1313.
I move for passage of ordinance 1313, final passage.
Second.
Motion for final passage by Councilman Emerson, second by Councilman Spitali. We've had our discussion. Clerk Golick, roll call vote.
Markovich.
Yes.
Spitali.
Yes.
Vines.
Yes.
Kalwinski. Salinas. Higgs.
Yes.
Emerson.
Yes.
Enosa.
Yes.
Opinker.
Yes. Ordinance 1313 passes 8-0, one absent.
Ordinance 13-14.
I move for final passage of ordinance 13-14.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Emerson, second by Councilman Spitali for third and final passage. We've had our discussion. Clerk Golick, roll call vote.
Markovich.
Yes.
Spitali.
Yes.
Vines.
Yes.
Kalwinski. Salinas. Higgs.
Yes.
Emerson.
Yes.
Enosa.
Yes.
Opinker.
Yes. Ordinance 1314 passes 8-0, one absent.
Ordinance 13-15.
I move for final passage of ordinance 13-15.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Emerson, second by Councilman Spitali. Third and final passage. We've had our discussion. Clerk Golick, roll call vote.
Markovich.
Yes.
Spitali.
Yes.
Vines.
Yes.
Kalwinski.
Yes.
Salinas. Higgs. Emerson.
Yes.
Enosa.
Yes.
Opinker.
Yes. Ordinance 13 passes 8-0, one absent.
Ordinance 13-16.
I move for third and final passage of ordinance 13-16.
Second.
It's a motion by Councilman Emerson, second by Councilman Spitali for third and final passage. We've had our discussion. Clerk Golick, roll call vote.
Markovich.
Yes.
Spitali.
Yes.
Vines.
Yes.
Kalwinski.
Yes.
Salinas. Higgs. Emerson.
Yes.
Enosa.
Yes.
Opinker.
Yes. Ordinance 1316 passes 8-0, one absent.
Ordinance 13-17.
I move for final passage of ordinance -1317.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Emerson, second by Councilman Spitali for third and final reading. We've had our discussion. Clerk Golick, roll call vote.
Markovich.
Yes.
Spitali.
Yes.
Vines.
Yes.
Kalwinski. Salinas. Higgs.
Yes.
Emerson.
Yes.
Enosa.
Yes.
Opinker.
Yes. Ordinance 1317 passes 8-0, one absent.
Ordinance 13-18.
I move for third and final passage of ordinance 13-18.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Emerson, second by Councilman Spitali for third and final passage of 1318. We've had our discussion. Clerk Golick, roll call vote.
Markovich.
Yes.
Spitali.
Yes.
Vines.
Yes.
Kalwinski.
Yes.
Salinas. Higgs. Emerson.
Yes.
Enosa.
Yes.
Opinker.
Yes. Ordinance 1318 passes 8-0, one absent.
President Opinker, that concludes the ordinances for final passage.
Thank you, Clerk Golick. Moving on, number 9, introduction of ordinances.
Item A, ordinance 13-19, sponsored by Councilman Spitali. An ordinance amending ordinances 8880, 8942, 8091, 9016, 9072, and 9124, creating a voluntary retirement program in 2013 for certain eligible employees of the city of Hammond.
Mr. President,
Councilman Spitali.
move to first and second reading and refer to council as a whole.
Second.
It's a motion by Councilman Spitali, second by Councilman Emerson. Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? First and second passes.
President Opinker, that concludes the introduction of ordinances.
Moving on, number 10, resolutions.
Item A, ordinance, resolution 13R-10, sponsored by Councilman Kalwinski.
Clerk Golick, could you read that in its entirety?
A resolution recognizing and honoring the contributions of Casimir Pulaski, father of the American Cavalry. Whereas the Common Council finds that Casimir Pulaski was born March 4th, 1747 in Poland, some 40 miles outside of Warsaw. At the age of 15, he joined his father in the resistance movement when Russia tried to interfere in Poland's political affairs. On his 21st birthday, he assumed command of a band of partisans and for the next 3.5 years led his troops into 12 major battles against Russian forces. And whereas the Common Council finds that word of his heroism, valor, and military genius as a strategist and soldier quickly spread across Europe and throughout the world. After surviving numerous bloody campaigns against Russia, Kazimir Pulaski was cast as an outlaw by Russia and was exiled to France for his actions on behalf of Polish liberty and freedom. And whereas the Common Council finds that in France, Kazimir Pulaski met Benjamin Franklin, who was recruiting volunteers to fight in America's war for independence. Kazimir, impressed with the ideals of a new nation struggling to be free, volunteered his services. He wrote to George Washington when he offered his military service to America during the Revolutionary War, saying, "I came here where freedom is being defended, to serve it and to live or die for it." At the Battle of Brandywine Creek, where George Washington's forces suffered a defeat, Pulaski led a counterattack that helped prevent a military disaster. Pulaski's performance during the battle earned him a commission as Brigadier General of the entire American cavalry and distinguished him as a brilliant military tactician. And whereas the Common Council finds that later, in 1778, Congress approved the establishment of the cavalry and put Kazimir Pulaski at its head. Kazimir Pulaski demanded much of his men and trained them in tested cavalry tactics. He used his own personal finances when money from Congress was scarce to outfit his force. And whereas the Common Council finds that in 1779, Pulaski joined General Lincoln in the South to help recapture Savannah. After French General d'Estaing, leader in the attack on the southern capital, fell wounded, Pulaski is reported to have rushed forward to assume the command, riding into battle on his horse, only to be mortally wounded by the blast of a cannon. It is said the general's enemies were so impressed with his courage that they spared his life and permitted him to be carried from the battlefield. However, 2 days later, on October 11, 1779, Kazimir Pulaski died at the age of 32. And whereas the Common Council finds that General Pulaski was named the father of the American cavalry and remains one of the well-known figures of the American Revolutionary War, General Pulaski's life represents the dedication of countless Americans of Polish and other ethnic origin to the principles of personal liberty and independence, which has always defined the spirit of the United States of America. Therefore, be it resolved by the Common Council of the City of Hammond that the City of Hammond honors and recognizes the contributions of General Kazimir Pulaski to the United States of America and proclaims his birth date, March 4th, as General Pulaski Day in the City of Hammond.
Clerk Golick, I'd like to add my name on it as a co-sponsor.
Mr. President,
Councilwoman Vines,
I would like to as well.
Mr. President,
Councilman Hinojosa,
can you add on everybody, please?
Clerk Golick, could you add everybody on that as a sponsor?
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman,
Councilman Kowinski,
I move for adoption and passage of 13R-10.
Second.
motion by Councilman Kowinski, second by Councilman Spitali for final passage. Is there any discussion? Clerk Golick, roll call vote.
Markovich.
Yes.
Spitali.
Yes.
Vines.
Yes.
Kalwinski.
Yes.
Salinas. Higgs.
Yes.
Emerson.
Yes.
Hinosa.
Yes.
Opinker.
Yes, 13R-10 passes 8-0, one absent.
Item B, Resolution 13R-11, sponsored by Councilman Opinker. A resolution of the Hammond Common Council determining and approving the written order of the Hammond Plan Commission as it pertains to Plan Commission Resolution Number 2013-01 and approving amending Declaratory Resolution Number 02-213 of the Hammond Redevelopment Commission regarding the establishment of the West Point allocation area in the North Hammond redevelopment area.
Mr. Chairman,
Councilman Kowinski.
I move for adoption and passage of 13R-11.
Second.
It's a motion by Councilman Kowinski, second by Councilman Emerson for final passage. Is there any discussion?
Mr. President,
Councilman Higgs.
only discussion I have as it relates to this, I see a lot of development being done in Robertsdale as it pertains to the park. When are they going to consider doing some development at Harrison Park as well as MLK Park? I contributed dollars to put new rides in there for my casino funds. I would like to see some emphasis and some interest put in those parks as well.
Mr. Dabberton, you have something to add to that?
Mr. President, with all due respect, Councilman, this has nothing to do with outdoor recreation. This petition has to do with Munster Steel, the development of Munster Steel, which the administration and the council have already approved the development agreement. This is simply another step in the process to secure and begin the construction of Munster Steel. It has nothing to do with outdoor recreation whatsoever. In Robertsdale or anywhere else, this is in North Hammond, this is not in Robertsdale, this is off Columbia Avenue near 141st. By the way, also, the U.S. Census reports the population of Hammond, Indiana in 2010 as 80,830. And President Obama, in his release of the census report, said that it was the most accurate count possible that was ever done. So it is 80,000.
What year was that?
2010.
Thank you, Mr.
This is
Dabberton.
2013.
So 10,000 people have left Hammond since 2010?
Order.
Mr.
Is there any other discussion?
Mr. Chairman,
Councilman Kowinski.
just for clarification that the West Point is actually in North Hammond, but in the 2nd District. Thank you.
Any other discussion? Clerk Golick, roll call vote.
Markovich.
Yes.
Spitali.
Yes.
Vines.
Yes.
Kalwinski.
Yes.
Salinas. Higgs.
Yes.
Emerson.
Yes.
Enosa.
Yes.
Opinker.
Yes. 13R11 passes, 8-0, 1 absent.
Item C, Resolution 13R-12, sponsored by Councilman Kalwinski. A resolution of the Hammond Common Council determining and approving the written order of the Hammond Plan Commission as it pertains to Plan Commission Resolution Number 2013-02 and approving amending Declaratory Resolution Number 03-2013 of the Hammond Redevelopment Commission regarding the expansion of the Marina Redevelopment Area and establishment of the Roby Allocation Area.
Mr. Chairman,
Councilman Kowinski.
I move for adoption and passage of 13R-12.
Second.
It's a motion by Councilman Kowinski, second by Councilman Spitali for final passage. Is there any discussion?
Mr. President, can I have Mr. Dabberton explain this particular ordinance for me?
Mr. Dabberton?
Sure. This is the development area along Indianapolis Boulevard where the new Walmart was built. The developers are seeking basically a TIF allocation area so that they can expand the development up there. As you all know, Super Walmart built there about 2 years ago. This is a allocation area from the state line along Indianapolis Boulevard to 5 Points. The developer has secured most of the property up there and has proposed a 2-phase development which should result in about $35 million in new construction over the next 3 years.
Any other discussion?
Mr. President,
Councilman Higgs.
as it relates to Mr. Dabberton, as it relates to the TIF district, are there funds going to be given to this particularly?
The commitment from the city is Indianapolis Boulevard has now become one of the busiest surface streets in the state of Indiana. There are about anywhere from 45 to 60,000 cars, depending on the day of the week, coming through that area. Right now, there are 2 stoplights that sit within a block of each other that back up traffic all the way into Illinois. So those intersections have to be redone. These funds will allow us to make improvements along Indianapolis Boulevard. Indianapolis Boulevard is a state highway. The state of Indiana will not pay for those improvements because they relate to development, so the city has to assist in that.
Any other discussion? Clerk Golick, roll call vote.
Markovich.
Yes.
Spitali.
Yes.
Vines.
Yes.
Kalwinski.
Yes.
Salinas. Higgs.
Yes.
Emerson.
Yes.
Enosa.
Yes.
Opinker.
Yes. Resolution 13R12 passes 8-0, 1 absent.
President Opinker, that concludes the reading of the resolutions.
Moving on to number 11, new and unfinished business.
Mr. President,
Councilman Higgs.
just last week, I want to emphasize to my fellow colleagues in regards to the library issue. There was a meeting held, and there was discussion brought up in regards to the library, and a number of those individuals are present, and they will speak at public expression. But I just want to reemphasize the importance of maintaining and keeping our library here in the city of Hammond and doing what's necessary to make sure that it remains a part of our resources that are available to the residents of this great city.
Any other new and unfinished business?
Mr. President,
Councilwoman Vines.
as usual, I have some Crime Watch meetings to announce for those who wish to do good in your community and be involved in your neighborhood. On Wednesday, March 27th, Columbia Crime Watch will meet 6:30 p.m. at Columbia School. Wednesday, March 27th, as well, Jefferson Crime Watch will meet at Jefferson School, 6:30 p.m. Also on Wednesday, March 27th, it seems to be a busy night, Edison Community Watch will meet at Edison School because Edison School is closed for the spring break. The school was not available the first Wednesday of the month, so that's why Edison had to move theirs up a week. And that is how change happens, one gesture, one person, one moment at a time. Thank you.
Any other new and unfinished business? New and unfinished business is now closed. I just want to reemphasize, folks, you have 3 minutes to speak. Since we do have a big crowd here, like I says, Councilman Kowinski will have a timer, so when you hear the click go off, your time's up. Our first speaker will be Eddie Banda. And please announce your name and address.
Yeah, my name is Eduardo Banda, and I'm at 7814 Catalpa. Tonight I'd like to speak about recognizing and learning a little bit about Cesar Chavez. His name is Cesar Estrada Chavez. His birthday is coming up March 31st. He was born on March 31st in 1927, was an American farmer, labor leader, civil rights activist, who with Dolores Huertas, who I had the pleasure of meeting, is a very beautiful lady, co-founded the National Farm Workers Association, later named UFW. A Mexican-American, Chavez became best known as a Latino-American civil rights activist and was strongly promoted by the American labor movement, which was eager to enroll Hispanic members. His public relations approach and unionism and aggression but nonviolent tactics made the farm workers a struggle and a moral cause with nationwide support. By the 1970s, his tactics had forced growers to recognize the United Farm Workers as a bargaining agent for 50,000 farm workers in California and in Florida. However, by the 1980s, membership in the UFW had dwindled to like 15,000. After his death, he became a major historical icon for the Latino community. Organized labor, liberal movement, symbolizing support for workers and Hispanic power base and grassroots organizations His slogan, "Si se puede," in Spanish for yes, it's possible, or roughly, yes, it can be done. His supporters say his work led to numerous improvements for union laborers. His birthday, like I said, is March 31st, became Cesar Chavez Day and a state holiday for California, Colorado, and Texas. He was born in Yuma, Arizona in 1927 in a Mexican-American family of the family of 6. He had 2 brothers and 2 sisters. And he was named after his grandfather, Cesario. Chavez grew up in a very small house, the same home in which he was born. His family owned a grocery store and a ranch, but their land was later lost during the Great Depression. Chavez urged Mexican Americans to register to vote. He traveled throughout the California state and made speeches in support of workers' rights. He later became the CSO National Director. When Filipino-American farm workers initiated the Delano grape strike in September 8, 1965, the protest for higher wages, Chavez eagerly supported them. 6 months later, Chavez and the National Farm Workers Association led the strike of the California grapes. Pickers of the historic farm workers marched from Delano to California State Capitol in Sacramento for the similar goals. The UFW encouraged all Americans to boycott table grapes and show their support. The strike lasted 5 years and attracted national attention. In March 1966, the U.S. Committee on Labor and Public Welfare Subcommittee and Migratory Labor held hearings in California on the strike. During the hearings, subcommittee member Robert F. Kennedy expressed his support for the striking workers. These activities led to similar movements in southern Texas in 1966, where the UFW supported fruit growers in Starr County, Texas, and led march into Austin in support for UFW farm workers' rights. There's a portrait of Chavez in the National Portrait Gallery in Washington, D.C. In 1973, college professor in Mount Angel, Oregon, established the first 4-year Mexican-American college in the U.S.
Time's up there, Mr. Banda. Thank you.
Well, there you go.
Thank you.
Next speaker will be Rebecca Brown.
Good evening. My name is Rebecca Brown. I live at 5620 Maywood Avenue. I'm a Hammond taxpayer. I lived here for many, many years, grew up here in the city of Hammond. My concern is that I heard that the Hammond Public Library was either closing or was going to be emerging to Maryville. And I'm in total disagreement of that. I utilize that library as of today. I utilize that library even when I pulled myself up by my bootstraps. And when I was trying to get to further my education, I got the SAT book, PA SAT books, any books that can further help me in my education. I'm a registered nurse now, and like I said, I still utilize that library. And I think it's a very important, intricate part of our community, for our children, for the citizens of Hammond. Also, it'd be different if you didn't have the money, if they didn't have the money, but they have the money. So I would like for that money to be released and to be utilized, allocated for the Hammond Public Library. That's my desire, sir. If you
Thank you, Ms. Brown.
Please go back. I'm asking you kindly to go back and readdress this concern for our community. This is so important. Education is so important. It was important for me. It was important for me, sir.
Thank you, Mrs. Brown. Next speaker, Andre Brown.
My name is Andre Brown, 625 Sibley. I grew up out here in Hammond all my life, from a little kid all the way up. And I lost my parents at such a young age. They died in a car accident by a drunk driver. And it was me and my sister, and my sister ended up passing on, afterwards, and left behind my nephew. And my nephew's in college now. And if it wasn't for the resources of the Hammond Public Library, where would he have been? Would I have been able to give him up to the streets and let the gangbangers and the drug dealers get him? Or, if it wasn't, the library means so much to me, because it saved his life, because he was going, the wrong direction. So, not only that, but the people in the library make me feel special. They make me feel like I could go out there and do more. And because of that, I was able to work with him. He's in college, he goes to Ball State, and he's doing real good. So, what we're doing is, if we give it up the library, what you're basically doing is you're saying, forget about the children. Give them up to the streets and let them become drug dealers and gangbangers. These are future presidents, mayors, councilmen. This is our future. And we really need the library to continue doing what they're doing, and up under the leadership of Renee Greenleaf, it just makes a difference. It feels good. And to see Hammond without a library, is this what we want, Is this what you want to see your kids out there doing, whatever? Do we want the gangbangers to take over, or do we want some future people, mayors and presidents or whatever? Anything's possible. But I'm so grateful that I was able to turn to the library in my time of need when my sister passed and my parents passed and I didn't have anything, and that's all I had was my nephew. And I am so grateful to this day that he's making something out of himself, So I want you to reconsider that or whatever. That could be your child, your grandchildren or whatever, So just please, just reconsider that, because it made a difference in my nephew and my life. Maybe somebody else might have a success story the same way. So thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. Next speaker will be Carmela Robinson.
Neil Robinson.
My name's Camellia Ridgell Robinson.
Please state your address, ma'am.
Please
state your address.
1137 Merrill Street, Hammond, Indiana.
Thank you.
My father was an educator here in Hammond, Purdue University. I'm a graduate of Purdue University. So I've had the opportunity to explore and utilize the library. This is of my own personal opinion, is that this is a lot of posturing that is going on with the library, positioning, and it's on the backs of our children that this is happening. No one could have said it more eloquently than the people that spoke before me. Let's stop it. Release their money. Let them do what it is that they have to do. In a minute, you got stoplights at every corner. Is that where you want our children at? Everything else, they're moving south. You just said they want to do the infrastructure on Indianapolis Boulevard. They just counted the cars at 41 Indianapolis. That's where they want to do the work at. They ain't talking about doing anything out here. They don't even want to do any infrastructure in our parks. And the one thing that they can look forward to doing is going to the library. You weren't there Saturday. I saw the kids in there. Better than them walking the malls and being policed by the police. Let them have something. Give it back to them. It worked for us. I see quite a few people that were here when I went to school that utilized the library. And it worked for us. We're successful, don't you think? We made it. And there's quite a few councilmen up here that worked with me. Markovich.
Amen.
Councilman Higg, Golan, Spitali.
Been fighting a long time, Camille.
We ain't just got
Order,
in this.
Councilman, order, point of order.
We have not all just got in this. If it was something that they didn't do previously, that they didn't do right, that's holding it up, then let's help them do it right the next time. But let's stop posturing. Let's stop positioning. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker will be Janet Blanco.
I didn't like public speaking when I was in school, and I really don't care for it now. But this topic is important enough, and y'all need to wake up. The library has the money. All it takes is for y'all to just sit there and say, yes, go ahead and spend it. I saw the bank statement today. The money is in the bank. It is not coming from the city like I've had someone in the administration tell me. It is not coming out of city money. This is money that was paid in our taxes last year. It is in the bank. Let them spend it. My daughter is a teacher in Texas, and you know what she has to fight to teach facts in U.S. history class? She has a master's in history and has to fight to teach her children the facts. Now, I am willing to come here and fight to teach the city council the facts. It's not that difficult. And I'm getting some glares, and I'm trying not to look at who's doing it right now. But if you want to know what's going on over at the library, maybe you ought to get off your duff and go over there and find out. My husband was shot in an attempted robbery almost 7 years ago. He is now a paraplegic. The biggest thing the doctors told him after spending 7 months in rehab in Chicago was to get involved in your community. My husband can tell you when our neighbor leaves for work, when the widow next door comes home. Oh, I'm sorry, 1651 174th Place. You're my councilman, Mr. O'Pinker.
I have your address.
And when my neighbor's garage was broken into, I'm the one that knocked on her door at 11:30 at night, and we called the police, and I waited with her, and the police force they're terrific. Never have to wait. I live a block from Gavitt. We have no problems with the kids. The police force is great. But those kids have to be able to go to the library for their research, for their education, for the wonderful staff. My husband has a chess club there once a week and one Saturday a month. That Saturday a month, we have 30 to 40 kids come in to play chess. How many street corners are going to give you that? I haven't found one. My husband was raised in Chicago. Never found a chess game on a street corner. So don't tell me you're going to find one here in Hammond. By the way, some of the kids from Hammond were downstate for a tournament this past weekend, and we're hoping they really did well, because they're good kids, smart kids. But just, it takes a simple, yes, go ahead and spend your money, library. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker will be Ellen Zalaterich.
Hello, I'm Alan Zalaterich from 5638 Holman Avenue here in Hammond. And as a volunteer at the library, I see the people coming in, and a lot of them don't even have cars, they're walking. It's a public service to the citizens of Hammond. Where are you going to have public computers, computer classes, library programs for children? Where are they going to go? It'll be one less service for the city of Hammond. The library has the money. We aren't asking for any more money than what the taxpayers of Hammond are paying in their property tax. So we just need our money released, and so we can continue the library. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next speaker looks like Alice Smith.
Mr. President, that's Ola Smith.
My name is Ola Smith, 825 Becker Street, Hammond, Indiana. First and foremost, my concern is for the library. Each council person at large that's sitting here, we elected you to do a job for us, the citizens. We deserve a library, and we feel like you should relinquish the money for the library. I've used the library, I do research. It helped me through Hammond High and to further my career. You can only Google so much, but you really learn when you look through the pages and you flip the pages of a book. Maybe it's not a concern to you all that our children are the future and the library plays a part of the future. Education, library, crime, they go hand in hand. We're not trying to lose any more children. We're trying to save children. And if you take this library to Lake County, how will our citizens get there? We don't have buses. I mean, when you think something out, look at the whole picture. We're losing things, resources that are vital to the community. You're not adding anything, you're taking. And we're still taxpayers. So, I mean, if you can't work for us, what's the purpose of you sitting here? What's the purpose of you running?
Order. Let the lady speak.
To be elected for a position if you're not going to honor the words and the promises that you made when you ran for office. We don't need promises, we need action. And we ask that you relinquish this $800,000 to the library so they can go about their business, educating our kids. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Smith. Next speaker will be Johnny McKinney.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. My name is Johnny McNeil. I live at the Mount Zion Plaza, Pleasant View Plaza in Hammond, Indiana, 940 Kenwood Street. And this thing about the library, I had 10 children. One got ran over when she was 4 years old, but I have 9 living children. And all of my children, thank be unto God that they got a high school education. And I thank God for that, for just allowing them to do that. You know, getting an education to father, you know, to go on, you know, to utilize their lives and everything. That was my daughter that was up here a few minutes ago, Mrs. Brown, that had her children and then was working at a daycare. She saw that that wasn't good enough, you know, wasn't making enough money. So she quit the daycare job and went back to school and took 2 of her children to daycare with her. But then she went back and got her education. She's a registered nurse now, and I thank God for that. And we need this money. We need this library. Even back in the day when I was a girl here coming up, we had the little Brooks House branch, and that was a good thing. That was helping us children in the neighborhood. We need the library for our children to save them from the streets and all of this other stuff. You know, we'll know where they are, and not only that, helping them to educate themselves. So it's not like that we don't have the money. We understand that the money is there. Why can't we use it for the purpose of the library? We need that. This is something that we really need. They took everything from us just about. We don't have much left here in Hammond. They took the buses. They took the health department years ago. The mayor said he wasn't going to do that. He lied to our faces. He took that. So now what else is left? We put you people in office to help us, to work for us. And you know, and you all don't do the job that you're supposed to do for us. We don't need your support. We need your vote so we can have the library for our children. Thank you.
Renee Greenleaf. State your home address, please.
My name is Renee Greenleaf. My home address is 10124 South Emerald in Chicago, Illinois. My actual address is 564 State Street in Hammond, Indiana. I'm the director of the Hammond Public Library. I am very much encouraged by all of the people that have had the opportunity to speak. We were before you once before. And when we came before you then, we explained to you that we needed to do the additional appropriation to bring the budget back to where it needed to be. At that particular point, there was conversation that the money was going to increase the taxpayers' expenditures, and that they were going to have to, their taxes were going to go up, and where was this money going to come from, and where was the 7 cent extra going to come from, and what were we going to do? And we told you at that time that the taxpayers had already been taxed the monies that they needed, that we needed for the library. So now we come before you again. When we came to you the first time to show you how important libraries were, you all didn't even know why we were here or what needed to be done. And if I'm not mistaken, we introduced the bills to you, explaining that the councils, the county council had changed, and now we had to go before our local bodies to have our budget approved. So now, again, we invited you over to the library, and only a few council people came. I invite you back again to show you exactly what our situation is. We will come before you. I'd like to ask to come before you again for the additional appropriation so that we can fund the library, so that we can improve the computer systems, so that we can provide the service that you all said to the Hammond community you would provide. As I told you before, I'm a Chicago resident, but I love Hammond. I am here all the time. I spend my money here. I do everything here. Right now, in our rainy day fund, as of March 31st, we currently have $1,336,186.83. Between 2008 to 2012, we saved $747,000. We are not taking fancy trips. We are not flipping the money over and doing everything with it. We are providing the service for our community as best we know how. Again, I told you, you all didn't know what we were doing when we first came, and I understand that because we didn't either. I'd never been before the city council. And I respect you, and I respect your authority in the city, and I don't blame you. Question us, ask us everything. If I don't have it, I will get it for you. But understand this. Communities grow based upon what is available in them. You are not going to get people coming out of Chicago with big money, and you have no bus transportation, you have no health care department, and now you want to take, if we say our population is 80,000 or 70,000, whatever, you want to take them and crunch them into a small community library system and say, okay, here you go, that's good enough. It's not going to work, Councilman, Councilwoman. It's not going to
Okay, thank you,
work.
Mrs. Greenleaf.
You've got to do something. Thank you.
Next speaker will be Kelly Haladic. Kelly Haladic. Kelly Haladic. Carolyn Jackson.
Carolyn Jackson, 6407 Forest Avenue, Hammond, Indiana. I stand before you asking you to release the money so that the library can get about their business. The people from the library were here a couple of months ago. I was here at that meeting as well. I saw the confusion on your faces when it was time to vote, and you turned them down. I understood what was going on. What I didn't understand was you're about the community, not yourselves. And inasmuch as you should be about the community and not yourselves, I could not understand why you didn't ask the necessary questions that is needed to be asked so that you could properly and clearly understand what they were here before you for. It could have been tabled, and these individuals, including myself, would not be here addressing the same issue. There is no bus system here, so people cannot get to where they need to go. In every city that I've been to, and I've been to quite a few all over the world, they don't have just one library. They have a library in every community. And the reason for that is so children can walk to the library. Adults can walk to the library so they can obtain the necessary information, periodicals, and everything else that they need. Many students spend their summers on a daily basis in the library. But individuals who live in Hessville, they cannot walk all the way over here to the one library, nor can they walk to the county library. I think that it would be appropriate, before you repeatedly make cuts, that you do your homework. Sometimes homework is not coming to the council meeting. In fact, most of the time, homework entails just what it is, doing it at home in the afternoon, researching, and maybe if you go to the library or you spend time on the computer or talking to some of the individuals in the city, you will get a clear and concise point of what you need to have done. Because we're tired of it. We're so tired of all of our benefits as residents of the city being cut. And there is never anything as an alternative of what you plan to do. It is very easy to cut, but it takes a mind and it takes knowledge to come up with a creative way of making it not happen. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Jackson. Next speaker will be Tony Harbin.
My name is Tony Harris.
Harris? Looks like Harbin, sorry.
My name is Tony Harris. I live at 844 East Willow Court. I was born at St. Margaret's Hospital, Hammond, Indiana. I have lived most of my life within a one square block area covering State, the 900 block of State and Sibley streets. I went to elementary school at Lafayette Elementary School. I went to middle school at Spohn Middle School. I went to high school at Hammond High School, class of 1988. I earned a Bachelor's of Science in Biology at Purdue University Calumet campus, Hammond, Indiana. I later went back to school and earned an associate's degree in microcomputer and network management when Davenport University had a branch in Hammond, Indiana, at the Career Center. The Hammond Public Library has always been a part of my life for these 42 and a half years. All I ask is that you set time on a future agenda to revisit the question of releasing additional funds for use by the Hammond Public Library. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Harris. Next speaker will be Cornell White.
Hello, my name is Cornell White. My address is 5280 61st Avenue, Maryville, Indiana. I'm the financial analyst at the library. I'm sure you remember me from the last time I was here. Before I stated that we had the money, or we were going to receive the money by the end of the year, now here I stand, we have the money in the bank. I can understand the disbelief because it was a nuance, it was something new that new laws that we had to go before you, and you believed that if you approved it, that you would be liable for it. We receive our own tax levy. Our tax levy is 3.7. It's always been 3.7 for 8 years, I believe now. We were arguing about the tax rates and all that. Those aren't given to us. We have no power over those. That is contingent upon the property value of the assessed value of Hammond, Indiana collectively, which I have absolutely no control over, and that fixed levy. And it's a division problem. It's a long division problem where you divide that levy at 3.7 by the assessed value, and that's where you get that rate that is at 22 cents, 29 cents. I'm stating now that we are sandbagging money for no apparent reason where we need to be using some of that money. I see no logical reason for us to be sandbagging the money. We're not going to take any extra money from you. It's the library. Now, I graduated from Roosevelt High School, 94. I went to the academic Super Bowl during that time period, and I went to Hammond Gavitt. We got our butts kicked. All right. During that time period, Hammond was one of the best school systems in Northwest Indiana. I don't know what that would entail with no library. You got 4 high schools, 1 library as it is. Now, if you make that library smaller or you send it to wherever you may send it, or think that people's going to go to one of these surrounding areas in order to get the library, we don't have a bus system. But yet, Gary, you can live on 5th Avenue and you can get to South Lake Mall from the bus system. And you can get to the library, and I'm talking about the Maryville Library, from the bus system. And you can get to the county complex from Gary. Gary has 75% the assessed value that Hammond has. Hammond is a richer city, yet we're arguing about money that the library has. We're arguing about if there should be a bus system. We're arguing about if there should be a health department. The health department is in Crown Point County Complex for here. I don't understand that. I mean, none of that is any of my I have no scope. That's out of my scope. But what I'm stating is, if we have the funds, use the funds.
Thank you, Mr. White. Your time's up. Kitten Gray. Next speaker will be Kitten Gray.
Good evening, everyone. Kitten Gray of 40 Ruth Street in Hammond, Indiana. I've been a resident in Hammond for over 20 years, a taxpayer. I have 2 beautiful children who have come up in Hammond and have utilized the library from day one of me moving to Hammond, Indiana. What I have to say today is not for everyone. Why? Because everyone in this room won't get it. In fact, some people will leave the earth and never get what I'm about to say. So it's for the open-minded, the ones who have an open heart and can understand where me and the citizens of Hammond are coming from today. First of all, let me get to this. I expect for you to have this subject on the agenda in April, first thing in April. I won't settle for less than that. So I'm looking for you to do the right thing if you are open to the right thing. Also, I overheard something. This is really rumor, but I just have to say it. I heard someone say that they overheard the mayor of our city say that libraries are obsolete. I really hope that he did not say anything like that, and I would like him to prove it. Please, we need that library in our downtown area. That's the first place that people see when they come from Chicago. We don't have much in the downtown area. We cannot take that away from the downtown area. It's a beautiful building. That library is being managed very well. It's not in major debt. It is paying its bills. And as a taxpayer, I want you guys to do the right thing. and release the money that needs to be released. Also, my two beautiful children, one is a senior at Indiana University in Bloomington. He used that library, if not twice a week, 3 to 4 times a week. My daughter, who's 15 now, a sophomore at Hammond Academy of Science and Technology, who wants to be a marine biologist, we go to that library constantly for resources and material for what she's planning on doing. I have reached out to you guys on 2 occasions regarding Atia Gray. Remember her name because she represents Hammond every time she steps out of the city. She went to Washington, D.C. and represented you there. And soon she'll be going to the Bahamas on a marine biology expedition with the Shedd Aquarium to represent Hammond. She has 2 more years before she goes to college, and she needs her library as well as all of the students here in Hammond. Thank you.
Next speaker will be Maria Reyes. Maria Reyes.
Hello, and thank you for the opportunity. My name is Maria Costa Reyes, and this is my husband and my little boy, David Adam. We would really like for that money to be released. We have a daughter who is 9, and she is currently at our library, who does, you know, the library is more than just a place to go get books. But, I mean, that alone is such a big thing. And as if our mayor said that about electronics, I received a Kindle for Christmas from my husband, and it is still sitting on the shelf. I love to touch the books. I have to hold them. I got to smell them. I love to carry them around with me, okay? When our Hammond schools failed me, the library did not. And I am a Ronald E. McNair Scholar and a graduate of Purdue Calumet. We need our libraries. It is a disgrace to the city, to these children, if that library is closed. We would all be besides ourselves. I know that we would. How can I look my children in the eyes and tell them that the library is closed? It is more than just a place to look at books. We have made many friends, and the library staff, bless you. If this lady ran for president of the United States, she would get my vote. She would get my vote. What they do there, they do magic there. And I don't know if you guys have taken a walk down the Hammond streets. We are fortunate to have a vehicle that, yes, we can go to the Munster Library or other libraries, but so many people do not. You guys are really going to let the children down. You know, how often do we say the children are our future? I want every one of you to look at my son and you tell him you're going to close down his library. Do that. Each time we go to our library, we walk out with mountains of books. And you can ask the staff because they know us very well. That is our second home, our second home. You know, some people have the money, they have the way, the means, but a lot of people, the Hammond residents, don't. And without a bus, without transportation, you know, those are crucial things. It is discrimination to close that library down. Not only is it a meeting place for people. Like I said, our daughter's there at the choir right now. They sang with Foreigner.
Thank you, Mrs. Reyes. Your time's up.
It is a warming shelter. It is a cooling shelter. We have homeless people in Hammond. Please open your eyes.
Next speaker will be Rita Jackson.
Good evening. My name is Rita Jackson. I live at 1216 173rd in Hammond, Indiana. It's good to see everyone. Thank you for representing our great city. Two quick stories. In the community where my son grew up in Hammond, Indiana, there was a lot of fighting. That's what boys do, they fight. And you know how I resolved that problem? I gathered up all the boys that he was fighting with, took them to the library, and taught them history, taught them their African heritage, taught them about the Moroccan laws, and that their culture didn't start here in chains on the ship. Showed them through books where the heritage started in this country as black free men. Things that did not teach in school. The library made that possible. It is so much history. It is so much. If you are an unlearned person, you can go to the library and become learned. I have taken children there that they had basically said they were illiterate, and I've taught them how to read and write. Sometimes in a school environment, there's too much pressure. But it only takes one person to care, separate them. It's not just about picking up a computer, and I utilize the computers as well, but it's a combination of both. And it's a combination of community, it's a combination of books, and it's a combination, because some people cannot learn electronically. I know some very intelligent people. They're in school, and we get discounts and cuts if they would order their books electronically, and they said, I just can't learn that way. I have to have the book. I have to touch the book. I have to read it. Another quick story. I'm a member of a book club, and instead of me purchasing a book every month, I order it from the library. And they don't have it. They order out for it, allow me to keep it for almost a month, and if I don't feel like reading, I'll get it on audio. And that keeps me to continue to be a participant in the Book of the Month Club that I don't have time for. The library does that. So it's a social, it's not just education, it's social and education. So I'm asking you guys, the people that we hired you, because you get a salary, so as employers, as you are our employees, I have 4 employees on this here today. I'm asking you to visit this, use your influence, and use your vote, and keep this going for the next generation. This is a city, guys. This is not a suburb. I mean, it's a shame that as much as Gary, Indiana's going through, we're right down the street, library, buses, health departments, you know, people who want to go get tested for diseases, they go to Gary. They live here in Hammond. That's sad. But we always talk about Gary is this and Hammond is that. We are a city. If we continue in the road we are going in another 50 years, we're not going to be a city, guys. That's what makes cities cities. Movement. Next, we're going to see stubble flowing. It's like a ghost town. It's like we're going back to Wild Wild West. The city's too quiet. It's not a city, guys. We're losing our city. When we lose our city, we're going to lose. People are going to move. We're going to have less councilmen. Have there ever been a history of less representation? If you have a smaller city, you're going to have less representation. They're going to start to putting these districts together. They're going to consolidate districts. And you're not going to be that district. Think 50 years from now, 100 years from now, your children and grandchildren. Do you want all of your people, your family to move from this great city? This is a great city, guys. Please keep it that way.
Thank you, Ms. Jackson. Next speaker will be Sonia Morales.
Good evening. My name is Sonia Morales. I live at 4325 Elm Street. And I heard that the library is going to be closing, and I just thought it was
amazing to even hear. Like, I mean, there's so many bars in the city of Hammond. Why can't you close one of those? You know, I mean, like, why would you take something that could educate your children, and why would you take that away and leave something there that could corrupt them? It doesn't make any sense. I know that you guys feel like we are all against you. The only thing we're asking is just to don't take our future away. We can never become better if there is nothing to better us. If you don't give us the chance to learn more, then how can we teach our kids something else? We can't. If you walk into the Hammond Public Library, they're like your family. They greet you. They love you. They will teach you things that your own family will turn their back on you to teach. And they will give you the opportunity to know that you have a better life and you have a better chance if you are willing to just believe in yourself and have somebody else to believe in you. And those people that work at that library, they believe in every person that walks to their door. They believe that they can be somebody one day. And you guys right now are giving them the opportunity to say that that is not true and that is not cool, because if there isn't a place for us to learn more, then how are we going to be able to have more of you guys? How are we going to teach our kids to learn about the city? How are we going to teach our kids to stand up for the city? You can't teach them something that they don't even know, and let alone, I mean, literally, like, if you think about it, I mean, I had a reading dyslexia my whole life. Until this day, people say, you'll never be able to read. But every lady I know at that library, if I cannot read that book, they will find it on audio. If they don't find it on audio, they will find it on video. If they don't find it on video, they will read the book to me. And you cannot find that nowhere else. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Morales. Next speaker, Derek Dunn.
Derek Durr.
Sorry about that, sir.
1004 Tractor Street, Hammond, Indiana. I grew up in Hammond. Some of you may know my mother. My mother's Willie Mae Durr. Back in the 60s, when we had Brooks House, there's a lot of us that's in this room now that grew up through Brooks House. There's a lot of people in this area who had breakfast served at Brooks House. There's a lot of people in this area who have learned how to read, learned how to get along with one another at the Brooks House Library. I think the problem we have here in Hammond, period, we have a long list of bad decisions. And I can say that because I've been here. You know, I haven't been one of them fly-by-night dudes. You know, I've been here. I've been here with city politics with my mom forever, okay? I thought it was a horrendous idea when you moved Maywood School to next to a bomb, which is Witham's gas station. You already have overlapping school boundaries because you got 167th is a graveyard. On the other side of that is 169th, which is Edison School. That was another bad decision. Okay, now I'm hearing that there's some discussion about Walmart being changed to over there by Cabela's to help Cabela's out. That was another bad idea because you took the golf course. Okay, so now we're back at the present day. Now you want to get rid of the library. Well, like I said before, and like it was said before me, the library is not just a place for books and for kids to go. It's a place for people to meet and share understandings, and share things about their community. Brooks House was not just a library. It was a gathering place. On Wednesdays, it was family night. Parents was in a downstairs discussing the community. We, as kids, was upstairs playing, learning how to play with each other. Okay? In the daytime, we were still at that library. We were playing basketball outside. Well, my mother and the other women were inside teaching those who wanted to read. I think we need to stop making these bad decisions. It's okay when you make a mistake. That's one thing about being an adult, is when you make a mistake, you do something about correcting it. You don't just continue to let it happen. If you have driven or walked down the streets of Hammond, preferably downtown Hammond, Firestone is gone. There's no downtown Hammond. We got Aquabar. Okay, we got a nightclub, a hospital, and a church. Okay, and you're wondering why people are moving out of the city, why our tax revenues are high. Well, if you can't get anybody to move into your city, you can't even get businesses coming to your city. Now, we're going to be burdened with another building that we're going to end up paying taxes for anyway. Nobody's going to buy it. Nobody's going to move into it. So where are we at? All I say is you need to let these people, let this library do what it needs to do, and you guys need to get in the business of trying to heal this city.
Thank you, sir. Next speaker will be Dale Parrish.
Good evening, councilwomen and councilmen. My name is Dale Parrish. I live at 1017 Lion Street here in Hammond. Just want to say a few things. I don't think there's anything else to be said about the saving of the Hammond Public Library. I think so many people here tonight have said eloquent things about the library, and the ball is now in your court to do the right thing. That's the most important thing. Our children. What happens when you want people to move into your city? You want them to be a part of your city. But if you don't have what they call comps in your city, they're not going to come. And those comps are police protection, economic development, schools, resource centers. If you don't have those, you can forget making Hammond or letting Hammond continue to be one of the best cities there is. If you don't make the right choice, in about 10 years, we'll have kids standing on the corner. We'll have more crime because they have nowhere to go to expand their minds, to keep them engaged, to keep them going. Here in this city of Hammond, it just seems like to me, and this is my opinion and mine only, that everything that takes place is taking place on the ends of the city. Redevelopment, the two gentlemen that were here to get the ordinance passed for West Point and the marina development, they came and got what they wanted, and they left, like they always do. And I'm not against this city growing, because I was born and raised here, and I still live here and pay taxes here. But when is it going to be time? When is enough going to be enough? Where they direct some time and some effort to Central Hammond. Seven years ago, maybe 8, there was a big rally at Jefferson School when our mayor was in his first term about redevelopment in the 3rd District. He had this big old sign, and he had a whole bunch of people pandering and posturing, save Woodmar, save Carson Perry Scott, and everything. Now, 7 years later, he's looking to remove Walmart and move it to Cabela, South Hammond. Where it's going to take your tax dollars, going to remove your TIF, and the things that is needed in the 3rd District won't happen. I'm just asking you to make some decisions, be it keeping the library open and paying attention, 3rd District residents and Central Hammond residents, to what's going on in your district. If he takes your economic development, you have no tax base. You have no TIF that could be designated.
Thank you, Mr.
To
Parrish.
go to the end of town. Thank you.
Next speaker will be Mr. George Stoya.
I'm not going to say anything about the library. Instead, earlier, if you recall, Councilman Higgs was reading a letter from Jerry Shub, and wherein he reiterates his stand with great conviction. What Mr. Shub fails to tell us is that back in the day, about 7, 8 years ago, when this local income tax was first floated, we could have had an income tax at 0.5%, 0.75%. Now, the minimum that we can have is 1%. So before Jerry says anything, he isn't doing us any favors. In fact, his obstinacy has led us here to where it's a 1% at the very least, or nothing. Thank you.
Last speaker of the night will be Alvin Cheeks.
Good afternoon, Council. 832 Merrill Street, Hammond, Indiana. I think I took part in economic development in this city. In 1992, Clayton Potter came to the Hammond Public Library. He recruited me to go on to work for Indiana's Last Real Estate and Indiana's Last Consortium, where we developed Ruby Ridge, which some people consider it 5 Points. I consider it Clayton Potter's Lane. Clay said to me one day, he said, Cheeks, he said, they hate North Hammond, they hate gasoline, but they'll grow to love us. Walmart will come in and they'll come in and they'll buy 1212 Ruby. 1212 Ruby, a little old lady lived there. She had some dogs. Clay paid her to move to Florida for Walmart. 5 years later, Clay died. The lady is in Florida to this day. I spoke to her today. And she said to me, Cheeks, she said that Walmart is coming, but it's already here, so what's the new one? I said, what's the new one? She said they're going to develop at Cabela's. I took part in that. I'm not ashamed to say I developed a golf course. We got those things from the library. The documents that we used to sue the city of Hammond back in 1992, we sued the city of Hammond for $15 million in excess dollars. The thing what most people don't want is the library there, because the treasures that exist in the library, you cannot find anywhere else in the world. The treasures that we have, my son Alvino Giovanni, he used to this day. You know, if you want to see peaceful prosper, you open their minds to books. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said to me today, he said, Cheeks, if they take away the books, they give them a gun. You know, we create toy soldiers by just not enhancing their mind and not opening their mind to wealth. The reason why North Hammond is developed unlike anywhere else, you know, I heard the traffic counts. You know, and I took traffic counts for Clay. We developed one of the biggest gas stations in the United States. We have 52 pumps there. And the numbers that I heard today are not even close to the numbers that we get on Indianapolis Boulevard. That property today where people park at for the concert, that property belonged to us. We sold it to the city. We developed that property just because people say we couldn't. He said, Cheeks, I'm going to show you and make them respect it. We came before the Redevelopment Commission with 15 lawyers. I was arrested in this room. I've been coming here 26 years. And it's a tragedy to know that your work went in vain. But the library, it was another gentleman, Charlie Darling, who was a great component of the library. He was an expert at taking advantage of the city of Hammond, and he used the library. You know, so I understand why they take away the library. I'm a person, I do sports, but I do libraries. You know, that's where wealth is. So I understand accumulated wealth, and I understand why some people say that the technology is in the book. I gave my son an example. The power went out. When the power went out, I say, why you haven't finished your home? Well, Dad, my computer's down. Well, hey, that's your loss. So I just say to this council, I'm not a proponent of taking sides. I've came before this council for 25 years. The thing we must remember is that look at the budget and use that example. The timer started 30 seconds early, so I still have 30 seconds because the time doesn't start until you talk at the mic, so I still have time. I just like this council to really take a hard look at the budget and make a conscientious decision in regards to the budget. You know, I know it's a lot of personalities in this, so just really look at it and take a conscientious decision and save our library. Don't look at the fact that, you know, some people have came up here gerrymandering. Look at the fact of our library. And the kids need the library. It's not about us.
Thank you, Mr. Cheeks. You made your point very well.
Dan. All right, thank you.
All right, need a motion to adjourn?
Mr. President?
Councilman Hinojosa.
Mr. President, we have a lot of people out here that spoke out here on the library, and I think they want to hear what the councilmen have to say. I'm ready to speak on this issue right now. I'd like to suspend the rules that we let the councilman speak to you.
Order. If you folks don't sit down, you'll all leave and we will speak.
I second that
Let's have
motion.
order.
Mr. President, I second that motion.
Okay, it's motion by Councilman Hinojosa, second by Councilman Higgs to go back to rules. Regular order of business. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? No, take an individual vote. Oh, individual vote. Clerk, go with roll call vote on going back to the regular order of business.
Markovich. Spitali. Venez.
Yes.
Kalwinski. Salinas. Higgs.
Yes.
Emerson.
Yes.
Hinosa.
Yes.
Opinker.
Yes.
Mr. President.
Councilman Hinojosa.
I'm in the 6th district, and I have 2 libraries that were closed. One was over on Alabama and Martha. I almost cried. The one by Morton High School, I almost cried again. We're supposed to be here for our children, and I know within your own board of directors, you had to close these places down. But now we're down to 1 library. Just so I can refresh everybody's memory, we passed a budget in the city council, and this council voted not to let you spend $3.7 million. I voted, Chico Hinojosa voted for you to spend your $3.7 million. We only passed the $2.8 million budget, meaning that now any money that you have accumulated in the bank, you have to come before the city council and ask for permission. May I? This councilman, like a lot of councilmen here, went to the library, talked to all those professionals with all those degrees, financial analysts, the board of directors, the library director, very smart people. And I spoke to them. I took a tour of the library. I've seen computers that are ready to go down and need to be replaced. I've seen a smokestack that is rusting that eventually is going to have to be replaced real quick. I've seen stained carpets downstairs that have to stay stained in the basement because there's no money to do it. Now, like I said, I voted for you to spend your 3.7. The rest of the council, I think they made, like Derek Durr said, sometimes there's bad decisions made on this council. I mean, we learn from our mistakes. I done my homework. I went to go talk to the professionals. The professionals said, we're going to get 3.7 million from the state. And look what you got. If we pass the budget of 2.8 million and you have 1.3 million in the bank, that's 4.1 million. All you needed was 3.7. This council could have passed $3.7 million and we wouldn't have to worry about anything. You know, it's a shame that we have a city like, no, it's not a shame. I think it's good that we have a city like East Chicago that still has a health department. They can have their health shots there in their own city. They don't have to go to the county. They have buses in their own city. They don't have to go to the county. But yet, what's going to happen, I mean, we already lost the health department. We already lost our buses. We sure don't need to lose the library. And we sure don't need the library to be taken over by the state. That's the worst thing that can happen. If the state takes over the library, you know what's going to happen? They're going to cut this, they're going to cut that, they're going to cut this. You know what? If we lose our library, we owe money. We have bonds that we have to pay. Who's going to pay the bonds? It's time for this council again to revisit the experts, and the expert is right there in that front row. You're going to see this councilman, like I hope a lot of these councilmen come see you, because whatever we need to do, we're going to do it. I'm going to do it. I hope the rest of the council follows.
Mr. President.
I'm off, excuse me, Councilman, I'm off Thursday. I'm going to make an appointment for Thursday. We're going to come see you. Whatever needs to be done, we're going to do it because this city belongs to our children. The future of the city is our children.
Mr. President.
Councilman Higgs.
I applaud Councilman Hinojosa's efforts in trying to utilize and get the funding that's necessary to maintain our library. Of course, you know I'm 100% behind this endeavor, and it is my hope and my prayer that my colleagues will certainly do what's necessary to keep the library remaining in our great city. Secondly, I spoke to our attorney who sits behind me, Attorney Berger, and he's currently working to see what's necessary to bring this issue back before this city council, my colleagues. However, as you look to my left, we don't see them. Wait, but when it's an issue pertaining to something that's going to benefit Robertsdale, they're here. The reality of it is, you all need to not just pay attention today, but from now on, stay in tune to what's going on in your city, get actively involved, and stand up for what's right. And if they ain't doing their job, guess what? Vote them out.
Anyone else? A motion to adjourn?
Mr. President, go back to the regular order of business.
Is a motion to go back to regular order of business? Do I have a second?
Second.
A motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn?
Second?
Second.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?